of listeners. Today, me and Maddie will be interviewing
Mark. And Harold.
How long have you been working with Harold?
This is my 10th year working with Harold in life education, and some days it feels like it's too long because he gets a little bit silly and he makes it really hard to do the job. But he's most of the time he's pretty good.
How many schools have you visited so far this year?
This St George's is the 11th school we've been to this year, the second one this term.
Why did you choose to work with Harold?
Because it gives me an opportunity to go around and do lots of teaching with heaps of schools and promote really good messages with someone who's pretty popular and someone who most New Zealand children know who Harold is, and gives us the opportunity to pass on really cool information for children.
Do you enjoy working with Harold?
Yeah, most of the days he's a lot of fun and it works well, but some days he can be a little bit of a nuisance. But no, he is a lot of fun. He is a lot of fun.
How tall is Harold?
How tall are you, Harold? Really tall.
10 feet.
He's got 4 feet.
Does Harold have a joke for us?
Do you have a joke for them today? What is pink and fluffy?
What?
Pink fluff.
Wow!
Oh, you got another one. What is blue and fluffy?
What?
Pink fluff holding its breath.
Yes, amazing.
Amazing. Thank you for letting us interview you.
You're more than welcome. Excellent.
Hi and welcome to Oswald's News. I'm Vin and this is Carlos. And today we're interviewing...
Michaela from Taraputahi Bushy Park.
Can you describe what Bushy Park is?
So Bushy Park is a mainland island sanctuary, which means that we operate kind of like an island on the mainland. So we're a fenced sanctuary. We've got a predator-proof fence around our native bush, and our job here is to protect it, look after it and watch it grow.
When was Bushy Park created?
This is actually a really cool story. So when the Europeans started coming over in the 1800s, a family called the Moores bought this land that we are on now. Like many others, they started clearing the land, cutting down the trees, filling in the wetlands. However, there was a man in the family called George Francis Moore, and he fell in love with this part of the native bush. He was taught by the local Māori here, Ngā Rauru ki Tahi, that this was really special, that there was a mana to this place, and he learned from them and learned to love it himself. When he passed on in 1962, he decided, I can't sell this place, because if I sell this place, somebody might chop it down like the people before me. So he gifted it to Forest and Bird, who now, in partnership with Horizons, DOC, Ngā Rauru ki Tahi, we all get together to look after this place. We got a predator-proof fence put in 2005, and since then, our life is flourishing.
Why should people visit Bushy Park?
Fantastic question. So many answers. Why should people visit Bushy Park? This is one of the last examples that we have of what our native New Zealand looked like. Before people came here, what we see here at Bushy Park covered from the oceans all the way to the mountains. And now we only have these last few examples of what it looks like. Some other areas in New Zealand have wonderful forests. They also have lots of pests and predators. When you come here, we can see what our native life looked like, lived like, without those pests and predators invading their spaces.
Why did you decide to work for Bushy Park?
So I've been a teacher for about 10 years now, and I've always had a huge love for the environment. So when this job was advertised, I thought, what a great combination of my skills and my love of the environment. If anybody knows, do you guys know the Kiwi Conservation Club? KCC, yeah, I was a KCC kid whole way through, and now I get to work for KCC again through Forest and Bird, and it's almost like a little childhood dream come true.
What is the special wildlife at Bushy Park?
So like I was saying, we are a perfect place for our native wildlife to flourish. So here you can only Here is one of the only places that you can see some of our endangered native birds, like our tieki, the saddleback, titi poinamu, who is a tiny, tiny little green bird that we introduced last year. You can see the tautauai, the native robin who loves to live on the ground, hence why you won't see him many other places except places with a predator-proof fence, and as well our hihi bird. A hihi bird is a really special bird. It's the only bird in its family. It's got no other relatives anywhere else in the world, and up until recently only survived on one small island up north of Auckland. Since then, we've started finding places like Bushy Park where they can flourish because predators pretty much take them out straight away. But putting them places like here, we're now seeing their numbers grow, and this is one of the only places in the world where you can see a hihi. I know people come from Europe just to study them here. I bump into visitors from America, South Africa, all over sitting down at our hihi feeder just waiting to catch a glimpse of them. So right here in this park, some of the rarest birds in the world.
Are there any endangered species in this park?
Yep, so pretty much those ones that I was telling you about are all endangered, and we're working really closely with them to make sure that they are safe, happy here, so that we can leave them be and they can grow and flourish. However, it's not just birds. In New Zealand we have got plants that we're really trying to save. We have got lizards, insects, many other tiny critters. So look up a list, many of those endangered things in New Zealand. If you look closely enough, you'll be able to find here.
Are there any special events at Bushy Park?
Yes, so excitingly so, this year Bushy Park's getting bigger. Last year we did some planting. This year we're doing, I think it's about 10 times the amount that we did last year. So starting next month in June, we will be opening up a new paddock, one of those paddocks that were originally cut down. So here at Bushy Park we have the original native forest, never got cut down, and we have areas that did get cut down that we are now growing and planting to join in with the forest. So that starts next month, and we'll keep an eye out in the paper and for newsletters because we want everybody in the community to be involved in that.
Have there been any new babies born recently in the wildlife?
So really excitingly so. I said before, our titi poinamu and our hihi are two of our very endangered birds that have been reintroduced to the park. In the last couple of months we have had our surveys done of these birds to see how they did over their breeding in the summer, and luckily we can actually spot them. We have some very talented people, researchers that come in and can find these birds, know how to hear them, know how to spot them, and they are reporting that they had a wonderful breeding season and that they will be doing well for the next year. So we've had at least 35 titi poinamu in the park, and our hihi, I'm waiting for those numbers to get back, but as soon as we have a confirmed number I'll let you know, because it seems we had a lot of babies growing.
How many people visit the park every year?
So Tarapurehi Bushy Park is free for everybody to come and visit. We have about 10,000 people from all over New Zealand to the world come and visit this each year, and as the educator I work with schools and I have about 2,000 students who come through each year to come and visit this park, so approximately 12,000 people.
Can you show us some special parts around Bushy Park?
I would absolutely love to. Come for a walk with me to our incredible tree Rata Nui, and after that we'll be going to the wetlands.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to talk about the tree's history.
Thank you very much. No mai haere mai ki a Rata Nui, te kaitiaki o Tarapurehi. We like to call this tree here the guardian of our forest. We've named it Rata Nui, pretty much means big rata. This is a rata tree. Now the reason we call this the guardian of our forest is when Mr. Moore's family was living here and everybody around them was cutting down the forest, burning it down, filling in the wetlands. Remember how I said that they decided they weren't going to? And that's because Mr. Moore fell in love with this tree. Our local iwi, Ngā Rauru Kitahi, talked to him about this tree, taught him about this tree and how it's not just this tree. Taught about those secret connections that everything has in our ngahere, our forest. And over time he fell in love with this tree. he watched it, he realized how many creatures interact with it, how many other plants, how many other things are growing up there, and that this tree can't exist without the rest of this forest, and the rest of this forest can't exist without this tree. And so that's what inspired him to keep the forest that we're standing in today. We wouldn't be standing in this forest today if this tree didn't exist. And in saying that, I want to tell you a little bit about this actual type of tree. This is a northern rata tree. There's a few different types of rata. There's a southern rata, a northern rata, and a rata vine. This is the northern rata. Now, the northern rata is a funny kind of tree. Tell me, where does a tree start growing from?
The ground.
The ground? Not this one. This tree started growing up at the top of a different tree. So we learnt telling these guys earlier about what an epiphyte is. Do you remember? What's an epiphyte?
It's like something that grows from a different tree.
Awesome, it's a plant that grows on another plant. Now the northern rata starts out life like that. So we estimate this is about 1,000 years old. About 1,000 years ago there was a different tree standing here. We think it was a rimu tree. We don't know for sure, we'll never know for sure. But 1,000 years ago there was a different tree standing here. One day though, a bird came flying over, pooped out a seed of a northern rata on top of the tree that was already here. And then over the last 1,000 years, that seed has sent down vines from the top to the ground, which have turned into roots. It's sent down more. They've twisted together. And over the last 1,000 years, it's created what we see behind us today. They do also think that inside these trees, there might be a hollow space from where the original tree did stand. However, we ain't going to be cutting it down anytime soon to find out. One last thing that I want people to know about these trees is we're very protective of them. Not only are they incredibly special the way they grow, incredibly special because they're just ours, our introduced pests and predators play a huge role in them almost disappearing. So part of the Pohutukawa family as well. Not too long ago, we were almost at risk of losing our Pohutukawa and our rata trees because what we realised is that the possums were coming over, they were climbing up the top of these trees and they were eating all the leaves and the flowers. What do the leaves do for our trees? They're the lungs. That's where they get their energy from. A tree without its leaves will surely die. So, if a possum got into this park, we may have to say goodbye to one of these trees, hence why our fence is so important. Can I throw in one cool little fact that I learnt recently? Okay, so possums, do you know where they come from?
Yeah, basically
Not New Zealand. They come over from Australia, okay? So they're native to Australia. They do fine over there. And I wondered to myself, why are possums so easily able to kill this 1,000-year-old tree within a couple of years? It'll eat those leaves, it'll eat those flowers, this tree could die within a few years. So why don't the trees over in Australia die when the possums eat those leaves? Okay, guess what I found out? Facts, I found out facts. The trees over in Australia, they had a different environment to evolve in. And what they learnt to do is they learnt to produce a small amount of a toxin in their leaves. Now, this doesn't actually hurt the possum, but what it does is when the possum climbs up the top of a tree in Australia and it starts eating the leaves, after a little bit, it starts to feel a little bit yucky. So it climbs down the tree, has a little bit of a snooze, and then when it's hungry again, it goes to a different tree because that last tree made it feel a little bit icky. So it can never eat all the leaves on one tree because the tree has learnt how to protect itself. Did our trees here have to deal with that when they were evolving? No. They didn't learn that trick. So now that we've brought those possums over, they're a huge threat to this incredible species that we see behind us today. Anything else you guys would like to know? Fantastic. I hope you come and visit our northern rata.
Thank you for letting us interview you. Got anything to say?
Thank you very much. First, I want to say thank you so much for coming out here and showing all of your friends and your students and their families this incredible place. Butchie Park is your place as well. We want you all to know that it's free to come here. This is your place. This is our place, all right? we have over 500 and 600 hours of volunteering that gets put in here a month, and it's such an example of what a community can do to bring back something that we all cherish and love. So hope to see some of you out here. Make sure you say hi if you see me out here too. Ka kite.